Hey guys, what's happening? So with us getting back into Venom War, for Venom War issue 4, we're getting hit with a couple of twists and turns that are very transformative. So with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications. Alright, so coming back, we continue in Grand Garden Arena, where at this point, Peter's already seen the future where he becomes the King in Black, and how that led to a tragic series of events for, really, the entire universe, which included both MJ as well as their daughter, May Parker. So to save them and the future, Peter had to let go of the Venom symbiote, so he did. And recently, with him just getting the call from Paul, MJ's current boyfriend, Peter now knows that MJ went dark fighting the Arachnio, so he's got to get out of here to save her, because that doesn't play out well for her down the line either. But in the here and now with Peter trying to shake Bedlam, he's not really able to until Dylan and Eddie step in, who at this point, both father and son have bonded with the Venom symbiote. And we find out here by way of the symbiote, this bond between the three of them, it syncs them all together. So now there's no secrets between them, and now as the symbiote would describe, they're finally a perfect family. And I mean, it's great that Eddie and Dylan are able to team up here, but it's like, man, the Venom symbiote's just gonna call the three of them a perfect family. And it's like, never mind the other kids, or grandkids of the Venom symbiote for that matter. But in the case of Bedlam, who's considered to be the raged drunk uncle in this analogy, in his case, that makes sense. So at this point where they gotta figure out what to do with him, Dylan on one hand has no problem with getting rid of Bedlam, so Dylan just takes his head clean off, which in this moment effectively separates Bedlam from the King in Black's hive, since that's Dylan's power as Codex. But on the other hand, Eddie doesn't want to kill Bedlam because they've been through a lot together. And I think part of that also has to do with Bedlam being a version of Eddie Brock as well. And the Venom symbiote doesn't want to get rid of Bedlam either. So it's 2 votes against 1 so far. But it's not too long before they really don't have a choice, as Bedlam's hit with Anti-Venom and they're met by the arrival of Flash Thompson, who just finishes Bedlam without hesitation. And I'm not gonna front, if I was Eddie, I'd have been looking at Flash like, oh man, that's how you feel? But also with Flash coming here, he's making his way over from the Venom War Venomous tie-ins, where he teamed up with Widow and Liz Allen, though most of his stuff with Liz happened in the Carnage series. And I got our coverage linked below for you guys. But leading up to this, with Flash having had his experience with the zombiotes, this also led to him learning that he could save people using anti-venom punches. But soon after, he discovered that this brutal method wasn't really necessary, when Liz taught him that all he really needed to do was make contact and concentrate. But as soon as Flash gets to the arena, Peter, he's gotta go. And when Peter leaves, Flash is like, oh man, I probably should have warned him about the zombiotes out there. Cause when Flash left Liz and Widow, it was getting crazy. And when Flash says this, everyone else here is like, zombiotes? And Eddie's just like, back up Flash, what are zombiotes? And before Flash can even answer that question, the answer comes crashing into the arena. And Flash is just like, those are zombiotes. And because they're all forced to fight off these zombiotes, without Flash really getting the opportunity to tell Eddie and Dylan what they are, it's here where the Venom symbiote fills them in about the zombiotes' history, starting with Lee Price. Because again, with Eddie and Dylan being in sync with one another through the Venom symbiote, it's able to get them both up to speed in a matter of seconds. So Eddie fills in Flash about parts of it along the way. But again, because this bond is showing both Eddie and Dylan everything, Dylan now knows what Meridius told them about the absent throne, which not only ties Meridius to everything Dylan had been through, since Eddie was killed, leaving Dylan on his own, on the run, and hunted. So this now has Dylan like, okay, the absent throne's the one who did all this, and Meridius is the absent throne. But on top of that, Meridius is Eddie. So now it has Dylan looking at this Eddie sideways, almost as if he's the one who put Dylan through all of this. And next we head back over to Alchemax HQ with Carnage and Meridius, where now with Meridius seeing that the Venom symbiotes learned to bond with 2 hosts, which is what he was pushing it towards, he says it's imperative that he gets it back now. But with Flash stepping in as a wild card, using his anti-venom against the zombiotes, this creates a complication. So Carnage tells Meridius perhaps he could use a wild card of his own. So he offers Meridius the Necro Spear, but Meridius just turns it down, and he tells Carnage, nice try, I'm not that desperate, only for Carnage to tell him, not yet. Meanwhile, back at the arena, the bond between Dylan, Eddie, and Venom, it's fracturing. And much of that has to do with what Dylan's just learned about Eddie and Meridius. That's pulling Dylan in one direction, with Eddie's guilt pulling him in another, and the Venom symbiote is just stuck in between. And during this zombiote attack, Dylan he gets ready to cut through these announcers who were taken by zombiotes not long ago, only for Flash to jump in and stop them, because as living hosts, these guys can still be saved. And when Eddie and Toxin jump in to try and round these guys up so Flash can cure them, one of these guys catches Toxin with the reversal, which is kind of funny given the whole wrestling thing. But Dylan notices that this creates a bit of a problem, because also with Flash mentioning that these zombiotes are a lot tougher with human hosts and fast, this creates a problem where Flash can't get a clean shot, and they don't want Flash hitting the wrong person with his anti-venom. So at this point, with the Venom symbiote having explained everything to Dylan and Eddie about Lee Price being the first zombiote and how Meridius took Lee Price and used him as a template to create these zombiotes, where in addition to that, Meridius used a version of the K chemical to make it so that these zombiotes could only be controlled by him. So right here, Dylan's just like, wait, Dad is Meridius. And so right here, Eddie just starts apologizing and telling Dylan, I'm sorry for everything I did to make him possible, but he's just a walking what if. I'm not him, I'm not going to be him. I have literally moved heaven and earth not to become that monster. But Dylan just stops him right there like, yeah, whatever, I get it. But right here, Dylan's trying to let Eddie know that they could use the idea of Eddie being Meridius, since he's the one who can control the zombiotes. So right here through their bond, Dylan sends Eddie an idea. And the Venom symbiote gets it too, which is why it leaves Eddie for a moment here. And really, Dylan's idea here is for Eddie to use what he can control to take on these zombiotes. So next, Eddie tells Flash, I'm gonna need you to trust me. So Flash tells him, I came here to finish this, Eddie. If it stops the zombiotes, do it. So Eddie tells him, fair warning then, this is gonna hurt. And it's right here where Eddie Brock, the symbiote bender, the King in Black, he takes control of Flash's anti-venom symbiote, which not only makes sense because Eddie's the King in Black, but also because the original anti-venom was formed from the symbiote's residue in Eddie's white blood cells. So because of this, anti-venoms are fundamentally a part of Eddie's body. So as King in Black, what belongs to Eddie is under his control, symbiote or flesh. And this hits a little harder since Eddie came back as the human symbiote back in Venom Legacy issue 220, because it was there where he figured out how to regenerate from just a pile of bones, when he traveled through time into his human remains, much like how we saw Meridius travel through time into symbiote matter. So taking that idea and adding it to the fact that anti-venoms are fundamentally a part of Eddie's body, that's insane. And if you need to learn more about the whole human symbiote thing, I have a link in the description for that video. But right here where Eddie calls the anti-venom symbiote to himself, since the symbiote is carrying the resurrected soul of Flash Thompson as a result of the conclusion of King in Black, Eddie makes Flash a new body inside of this cocoon, where the anti-venom really just uses Flash's self-image to print him out a whole new body. So Flash is actually back, he's human now, and he's alive. But right here, Eddie, he's only getting started, cause from here, with the zombiotes still under the King in Black's rule, Eddie sends out a psychic healing wave to all of them, and this would have been dangerous to the Venom symbiote, Sleeper, and Toxin, if Dylan wasn't here. But because Dylan has the ability to separate symbiotes from the hive, he's able to protect them while Eddie does this. But this effectively gets rid of the zombiotes, freeing the living hosts who are trapped inside, while letting the dead ones finally rest. And Meridius does not like this one bit, because he just looks at Carnage like, man, Brock's got the anti-venom and he's king blocking me with it. Given time, he'll free all the zombiotes, undo everything. And I'm just like, yo, king blocking. Like that should have been the title of a tie-in series right there. Venom War King Blocking. Y'all let me know what the subtitle will be in the comments below. Wait a minute, nah, don't do that. But at this time, Meridius has more or less come to the point where he's desperate enough now. So he takes Carnage up on his offer of using All Blood, the Necro Spear. And Meridius compares this to as if he's making a deal with the devil here. And it's pretty twisted because as soon as Meridius takes All Blood, Eddie's connection to the zombiotes who are connected to Meridius, it gets corrupted to where suddenly these zombiotes who are dying, they start turning red. So right away, just off of instinct, Dylan knows that this is Carnage, so he tries to tell Eddie to fight this, but out of Eddie, Dylan hears the voice of Carnage saying, yes, fight, everybody. And this creates a really bad situation really fast, because if left unchecked, there's really no limit to how far Carnage could use this connection and expand his reach. And Venom even says here, if this corruption takes hold fully, it could end the universe. And with them running out of time, we see a light show up behind Dylan, revealing Old Man Dylan, or the old man formerly known as Dylan, who then says, "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry," just before we see Eddie stabbed through the back by Dylan. And I gotta say, this is setting up some things right now for later on, as far as where things are going for Eddie, and I'm really reserving my thoughts until we see more, but this is what sets us up heading into the conclusion, which I'm expecting to be a lot crazier. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support, and for anyone who's new here, who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.